once said, "The effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is." Today I'm meeting probably one of the richest men on earth, John Keho, man whose work touched millions of lives.
Good afternoon.
Yes, thank you.
You have been one of the greatest teachers in my life, and I know you have started teaching about 40 years ago. Can you trace back the first moment maybe in your life when you started thinking, do we really know enough about this reality?
Yes, I can. I had an incident in my life. I was in my mid-20s, and it was, I felt my consciousness expand beyond just myself into where it was in the entire room. And I realized that consciousness was not limited within us, that consciousness was everywhere. And from that experience, that began my quest to understand the human mind, to understand consciousness, to understand reality. And so I just went off on a quest for my own personal knowledge and understanding, not thinking at any point that I would come out teaching, but that evolved later.
More and more people now start shifting or upgrading their perception of their reality, their own power. It's still quite frequent that one gives up very early on. What would be your advice to somebody who is just starting their path, so that the chances of going further and succeeding as much as the person wants are higher?
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a saying, and that is that our success helps many people and our failure helps no one. So don't be selfish, succeed. And it's very true that if you can realize that all of us are wired for success, neurologically wired. Our brains are built and programmed for success. Each of us decides what success is, but once you have established for you your own unique definition of success, then it becomes your duty and responsibility to be successful. And when you follow your passion, follow what feels right, follow what you love to do. Because your destiny is always going to be tied up in what you love to do. That's the reality of our life. Your mind will take you to wherever you want to go, that when you train it and when you work with it, it will bring good things to you. And believe in yourself, absolutely. Because until you believe in yourself, no one else will believe in you. And so you must believe in yourself and have fun. Yeah, because people are much too serious now. Just don't try to be perfect. That's another thing. Perfect is an illusion. Forget about being perfect. Just try to be your best. Try to have fun. Enjoy your life and move towards your goals.
Very interesting, because you say don't be selfish, don't be perfect. It's exactly what we, I think, get wrong, because people, when they start sort of arranging their lives the way they want it, they think they're selfish. That's complete misperception.
Exactly. And in fact, well, it's like I said with my saying is your success helps many people.
So don't be selfish.
Don't be selfish. And a great singer, Grace Jones, had a wonderful line in one of her songs. And she said, "I'm not perfect, but I'm perfect for you." And my wife and I say that sometimes. We go, you know, "I'm not perfect, but I'm perfect for you." In fact, we're all flawed, but I like to call it deliciously flawed. Yeah, deliciously flawed. It's like it's what makes you real. It's what makes you unique. Be deliciously flawed. Deliciously flawed. And you know what's a very attractive quality in a woman, as it is in a man as well, is a woman that has self-confidence in who she is, that realizes, no, I don't have to be perfect, because I'm extraordinary exactly the way I am. And with relationships, for example, what I teach people who are looking for good relationships is they're always focusing on what they want in an individual. A better approach, if you want a good relationship, is you focus on what you're bringing into the relationship. Think of all the qualities that you will add to somebody, and then you think of all your positive qualities, all the good things that you can bring into a relationship, and then you start thinking to yourself, wow, that lucky guy who's going to get me. And it becomes a whole different energy and vibration. And of course, that's what my teaching is. My teaching is all that everything is energy and vibration. Everything in the universe is consciousness and energy. And so as you learn to shift your energy and vibration, then you become very, very attractive to everybody.
How would you describe what is self-love, or what is loving yourself?
I think loving yourself is self-acceptance. It is, as we spoke earlier, is giving up the neurosis of perfection, and to always focus on good qualities that you have. Like one of my techniques is called acknowledging. It's a very, very simple technique. And what you do is you make a list of all the positive things that you can think about yourself. Very simple things like I'm a good cook, I'm a good friend, I drive well, I'm interesting, whatever it is, you make a list. And you don't just make a list. What you do is every day you just spend a couple minutes looking at that list and thinking, yeah, I am a really good person. I do have all these amazing qualities. And what that is doing is that is building up a vibration of success. Because we must always remember that all our thoughts, all our beliefs, all our feelings about ourselves is a vibration. Then what happens is this vibration attracts people, circumstances, events, synchronicity, and it becomes just a wonderful dance of magic and wonder as your life unfolds in the most miraculous ways. And that's the beautiful thing about what I teach, is that it works.
I know it works. You see this pile of paper on the table. This is your book.
Oh, is it? Okay.
You might not think so, but that's your book. Yeah. And I have printed it 14 years ago. It was 2004. I just moved to Germany. I downloaded pirate copy, to be honest, in 2004. It was much easier to download for free than to try buying something online. Was almost impossible. But since then I bought some real copies as gifts and for myself. But I remember that day, and this book has been with me everywhere. I would take it to university. I studied in Frankfurt at that point. I could only afford myself like 80-cent coffee in a canteen at university, which was actually not that bad. First time I got this book, I swallowed it. But then I would come back to it, and I would read just a couple of pages a day. You know what I find very interesting about your book? Despite the fact I read it so many times, when I read it again, I see new chapters appear. How would you explain this phenomenon?
Well, it's very easily explained. And what it is that all truths and all laws have many different levels of understanding to them. And so when you read something or you hear something for the very first time, you go, oh, that's interesting, I get that. But then what happens is that as you change, as you grow, as your depth of understanding increases, then you go back to it and you go, oh, it means so much more than I originally thought. Because I discovered this myself. I've been teaching now for over 40 years. I have never once made a talk or a seminar where during the seminar something just new reveals itself to me.
I've heard you were speaking about repetition. What do you mean by that? Is it what we are talking about now? That's the key to...
That is the key to reaching the subconscious. And so, because we have the two minds, of course. We have our conscious mind and we have our subconscious mind, and they're very different from one another. The conscious mind kind of weaves the energy and the patterns of thoughts, but the subconscious mind holds these patterns within it. And the way that you reach the subconscious is with repetition. So that when you do the exercises that I speak of, the affirmations, the visualizations, the seeding, all the different techniques that I teach in the book, if you do them once, twice, 5, 10 times, not much effect. But when you do them over and over again for maybe a month, every day, it doesn't take long, 5 minutes, what happens is through repetition, it reaches the subconscious. And once you imprint into the subconscious, then it becomes permanent. Then it's like money in the bank. And so what you're trying to do with mind power is to imprint positive images, very empowering beliefs. Then it works for you day and night. And your subconscious is your partner in success. It's your secret partner in success. And your subconscious wants to work for you, and it will work for you. But you have to enter into dialogue with it, and you have to know and understand how to imprint in it.
Information that you are sharing is so often against the logic, the common sense. So we are almost, trying to forget it. We push it away. The reality, circumstances push us back to the comfortable, but very, very limiting way of thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was very observant of you. You're right, because it in some ways defies logic. Because logically we look at life and we think to ourselves, okay, well, the way that I can be successful in life is I have to work really hard and I have to do all the things and we think that if we want success in life, whether it be a good relationship, whether it be a successful career or a family or a happy and meaningful life, that we work in our life really hard to achieve that. And we think, what does it matter what I think? Because what I think doesn't matter. It's what I do matters. So we place more emphasis on what we do than what we think. And that's backwards. That is totally backwards. Thoughts are real forces. This is the basic foundation of science, of quantum physics. And that what quantum physics teaches us is that we are living in an energy web, like beyond our 5 senses. Everything is connected. You should be more concerned and diligent about how am I thinking? What am I thinking? Because these are vibrations of energy that are attracting things to you. And people don't understand that. And that's why my teaching is such a revelation to people when they first get it. They go, I can control and direct my thoughts. And when you can control and direct your thoughts, you can do anything.
The effectiveness of the actions changes as soon as you change the state.
Exactly. And if you would spend between 15 and 20 minutes a day, that's all I ever ask, 15 to 20 minutes a day, practicing the exercises that I teach in my book, then you will prove for yourself. When people say, well, John, I want you to prove to me that this works, I can't prove it to you, but you can prove it to yourself. Don't take my word for it, or don't take your word for it. I mean, try it, see if it works for you. Because once you try it, I don't think you ever go back. I mean, you see results very quickly.
In your last book, you spoke about two types of games we're playing. One is the Monopoly game, and another is the game of the Quantum Warrior. We can often see that somebody tries to shortcut and go straight into the game of the Quantum Warrior, sort of skipping or even neglecting the other part, the other game. What are these people missing out on when they try to shortcut?
Well, I mean, Monopoly is the game of accumulation. Having a career, it's raising a family, it's making money, it's all the things that make up a fun and interesting life. And Mind Power was initially created for the Monopoly game, so because I wanted people to have a really fun and interesting life. And by the way, fun is very important to me. But then at a certain point of your life, you realize there's a different game, and I call it the cosmic game. And in my new book, Quantum Warrior, I talk about that. And the cosmic game is recognizing that we are made up of a mind, a body, a subconscious, and a soul. And that these four parts are different from one another, and that you want to have all four parts functioning within you. And so the cosmic game is recognizing that there's more than just Monopoly, that there's a deeper fabric to life. I have a saying, work on the conscious mind, and that will lead you to the subconscious mind. Work on the subconscious mind, and that will lead you to your soul. Work on your soul, and that will lead you to God or the universe. So there is a real progression of paths, and you don't need to do it in a religious way. You can do it in the ways that feel right to you. But there are basic principles of goodness. That's the true spirituality, is loving kindness, goodness, and sharing your unique gift. Never ever dismiss that.
In 2002, you stopped teaching for 3 years, and you continued your journey into discovering the real nature of the universe, the power of the mind. How did you change after those 3 years?
Well, first of all, we're all called to change. Life is cyclical, and that what's appropriate for you at 16 is not necessarily appropriate at 30, and what is appropriate for you at 30 isn't appropriate at 50, etc. That's what life is movement. And so, yeah, I heard the inner call to close that chapter of my life and to reflect on what is the next phase. I was in my mid-50s at that point. A new methodology was revealed to me. And so what was revealed is, again, the four parts of the self, because up till then, I've pretty well been working with mind and subconscious. And so I added the teachings of the Quantum Warrior. And the teachings of the Quantum Warrior are that we are all called to be our best and help others to be their best. And we are all called to awaken and help others to awaken. And how we do that is having the four parts of the self, the mind, the body, the subconscious, and the soul, fully awakened within us, so that we can be a complete and authentic human being. And so that became my new advanced teaching. Fortunately, my life and my teaching are always evolving. And I'm 72 now. I feel very blessed. There's an old saying that blessed is the man who has found his work and one woman to love. So from that definition, I'm a very blessed man.
Thank you. You don't give interviews often, but I'm sure you get a lot of questions from your students, from your readers. What is the most frequent question you ask yourself?
Well, that's an interesting question.
Or maybe lately.
Yeah. I think the most frequent question I ask myself is, am I being authentic? Am I being authentic? Because to me, that is the highest praise that you can ever give somebody. People can say, "Oh, John, you're smart," or "You're good looking," or well, I made that one up, but I used to ask for a good looking discount, and when I go to stores, I'd say, "Do I get a good looking discount?" They'd give it to me, but I find they don't give it to me anymore. But I think the highest praise is to be authentic, because being authentic means that you are valuing who you are, and that you're not trying to be somebody else. You're not trying to look good. You're not trying to sound smart. You're not trying to impress people in any way. It means that you can just be open and sincere, and so that is what I'm striving for, and is to just be authentic in every moment, and to have fun a lot. I love fun. Fun is a spiritual principle that is most misunderstood. Spirituality is much too serious. And there's also a very interesting wise man in South Africa, Credo Mutwa. He's a Zulu Sangoma, a Zulu wise man. And I've befriended him over the years, and we see him every time we go to South Africa. And he has a great quote. He said, "Life is like an instrument, and you have to learn how to play it." Each of us is playing our own melody. Each of us has our own unique song that we sing or play in life. And in that context, every one of us is artists. We should dare to be creative in our life. We should dare to be bold in our life, and to look at our life as our particular masterpiece, and to live it as an art piece. That's how I look at it.